We are starting the week off right here on Locked On Gators. We're talking transfer portal, Treyaun Webb's recruiting with John Garcia from Sports Illustrated and Locked On's Recruiting Insider. And we'll wrap up by talking about Florida football's Spring Ball Awards, only here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy Monday. I'm Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports. Before we're getting into today's content, just going to ask you to like, subscribe, leave a review, comment, whatever. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know how I can make it better. We're going to talk transfer portal now because this is something where Florida has said, we're going to be aggressive here. Billy Napier has said, we're going to be aggressive here. I know last week I spoke about bringing in a few transfer guys, one being a quarterback, but Billy Napier the other day was like, hey, no, we're not bringing a transfer QB, so you can nix that one. But there is a player on the Gators that people have been like, oh my goodness, is he going to transfer? Is he going to transfer? And that is Ventrell Miller, the linebacker, because he tweeted portal with the side eyes, and everybody was like, oh no, he's headed towards the portal. I think it was pretty obvious once he said portal with the eyes emoji. He was not hitting the portal. He was looking at players that were in the portal, and that's what we're about to do. But I just wanted to kind of cut that one out real quick. Ventrell Miller is not leaving Gainesville. He is a Gator through and through. But there are two players who are not Gators through and through, but might be Gators pretty soon. And the same day that Ventrell Miller tweeted portal, side eyes, these two guys hit the portal, and they're both from Arizona State. We're going to take a look at them. We know that Florida has interest in them. First, we're going to look at wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. He is a 6'1", 200-pound receiver that has versatility as both a runner and as a receiver. He will visit Florida this coming weekend. He gets to Gainesville on Friday, so he's got a visit set up. He is obviously interested in Florida. Florida is obviously interested in him. And, they're trying to add talent. And Florida has pretty openly said, we need depth. Pass catcher, we need depth. And that's what Ricky Pearsall could be. He's had 5 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown last season. He had 48 catches on 67 targets with 580 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. He had a season-high 9 catches against Washington State, but his best game overall was probably UCLA. He had just 4 catches, but 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He just went beast mode against them. So I'd imagine that's what we're looking at there. Pearsall also had an average depth of target on the year of 9.2 yards downfield, and he saw over 250 snaps at both wideout and slot receiver. So he saw a lot of snaps all over the place. He moved around a lot. It was fantastic stuff. So adding someone with that kind of versatility would be big for Florida because we kind of have a bunch of guys that could play on the outside or could play in the slot, but there's not a ton of people who really have the skill set to play both. So I'm interested to see if he comes to Gainesville. I know that they'll push hard for him. Hopefully it happens. He is someone that I like from Arizona State, and they're kind of just in turmoil right now. But another highly touted, probably the more highly touted recruit or player that hit the portal from Arizona State, linebacker Eric Gentry. Also 200 pounds, like Ricky Pearsall. But Eric Gentry is 6'6", so 5 inches taller. He's obviously incredibly thin, incredibly lean. He's got to add some weight there. But a freshman All-American last season, he's gotten a lot of early interest from schools. We know that USC, as in Southern California, is interested in Eric Gentry. We know that Texas has made contact with Eric Gentry's inner circle, which is also what Florida has made contact with, and Miami has also made contact with him, and they are also interested. So, and that's not it, but those are just the bigger names. Florida, like I said, does have confirmed interest. They have made contact with his inner circle. Although I don't know anything further than that. I don't know what the interest is as of the time of recording this on Sunday night. There is no no visits set. There's nothing really like definitive with what Eric Gentry is looking to do. So that's kind of just up in the air. But he played kind of that Miles Jack type linebacker role, which is someone that I feel like I compare a lot of people to. But he played that Miles Jack linebacker type role where he was a coverage specialist linebacker, and he would kind of line up all over the place. He wasn't playing deep safety, but he'd line up in the slot. He lined up, I believe that was his second or third most like common alignment, I guess I'd say. So he played a lot of slot. He played some outside corner in certain snaps, so he moved around quite a bit. He's obviously a very versatile player. He made 17 run stops last season, which is impressive for someone who is 6'6", 200 pounds to be that active in the run game. Again, a run stop is a tackle of 3 yards or less. So you gain 3 yards or less from the line of scrimmage. And so he had 17 of those stops. He had 2 pressures as a pass rusher, although he was very, very rarely used as a pass rusher because, again, he's a coverage specialist. It doesn't make a ton of sense to kind of take him away from what he's already good at. So he wasn't really a pass rush guy. I wouldn't expect him to be in Gainesville either. He had 2 pass deflections on just 13 targets. So and I mean, that's kind of something you'd expect with someone who's 6'6", long dude. So he's got long arms. He's going to be active in the passing game. So if you're targeting whoever he's covering, there's a solid chance he can get a hand in there and maybe break that one up. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with them. I don't know if they're going to come to Gainesville. Well, I know Ricky Pearsall is coming to Gainesville. I just don't know if he's going to stay in Gainesville. But there's 2 guys from Arizona State that Florida Gators are looking at, trying to bring over. And, of course, Billy Napier's got experience there or in that area. So maybe that'll help him a little bit. We're about to talk with John Garcia, Sports Illustrated's Director of Football Recruiting and Locked On's Recruiting Insider. But first, I'm going to talk to you guys about Built Bar because it's spring break time. It's almost vacation time for some of y'all. I got less than 2 months at this point, so I need to get in shape. And I'm doing it by eating Built Bar because you guys know by now I have an insane sweet tooth. Like anything like dulce de leche, I'm in. Anything like that, I want. So I need to go with Built Bar because Built Bar is coated in 100% chocolate, tastes great. Most bars have 130 calories, just 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. So you could throw out the hidden stashes, the Reese's in the desk drawer, the Kit Kat in the cupboard, the whatever in the wherever, and you can get Built Bar. Built Bar is always coming out with new limited time flavors, so you'll never get bored. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your next order. That is locked, LOCKED15 to get 15% off of your next order with Built or BuiltBar.com. And then our next partner has a product that I use literally every single day. I started taking Athletic Greens because, well, I have been trying to eat healthy. Like I said, I got vacation coming up. It's hard to eat healthy, work out, still get all the vitamins, nutrients that you need while also working all day. It's pretty difficult. Sometimes you get bored, lazy, or not bored, but sometimes you get lazy and then you eat some junk. But that's not what I'm rocking with right now. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into flu and cold season. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day, and that's it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/college. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/college to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. We're talking Treyaun Webb now, running back from Florida, who is a recruit for Florida right now. 4-star running back that he was initially committed to Oklahoma, but he decommitted when Lincoln Riley kind of snaked his way out of Oklahoma and went to Southern California. So then Treyaun Webb's recruitment opened up, and then Florida kind of put in a lot of work. He's visited Florida twice this month, once last month, and he named Florida his leader after his most recent visit. And he also said it would be pretty hard to pull me away from Florida right now. So that's incredibly promising. We do know that Tennessee is making a late push. We know South Carolina is making a push. They're tweeting at him all the time, and he's just it was someone tweeted at him 2 days ago, I think it was, and they're like, "Hey, South Carolina will treat you like a priority," and he put like and he like quote tweeted it. He put 100 like hearts, I think it was. That don't mean nothing to me though. Like I said, he's made 3 unofficial visits to Florida in the past 2 months. 2 this month, 1 in March, and he has his official visit set up with Florida for June 3rd. He will be in Gainesville. He has 4 official visits set up to this point, Florida being the first one. And I don't think he's going to add any more official visits because he's got his first one, like I said, set up June 3rd in Gainesville. The week after that, he is going to Happy Valley, Penn State. The week after that, he is going to Tennessee, which no one cares about. They are making a push. Like we know they're making a push. They've got their NIL thing going that's like kind of sussy. But they've got Josh Heupel is making the push. And South Carolina is the week after that. And then the week after that South Carolina visit, Treyaun Webb is announcing his commitment because he has already set his commitment date, which will be June 30th. And we know that he's someone who everybody loves right now. Like there are so many Florida insiders and reporters that like, we want Treyaun Webb to come to Gainesville. And it's interesting because I also, obviously I want a 4-star running back to come here. But it is also interesting because there are so many running backs with so much eligibility here in Gainesville. Like we've got Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne are 2 incredibly young running backs that have got a ton of eligibility left. But the thing is also, we've got guys like Naquan Wright, DeMarcus Bowman, Lorenzo Lingard, who won't be here for more than 2 more years. So we can probably take a look at them leaving at some point. Because again, if like the running back by committee thing is not going to stop these guys from getting NFL interest. Dameon Pierce has a ton of NFL interest, and he had no carries. But also, NFL teams are going to say, we're going to use you in a committee role anyway. So it's interesting to see. So Treyon Webb could be throwing his name into that mix. And that would mean that 2023, if Treyon Webb does come to Gainesville, that means 2023 we'll have Montrell Johnson, Trevor Etienne, Treyon Webb, and presumably at least 1 or 2 of the other running backs currently here. And that makes what Florida has already one of the strongest running back rooms in the nation. Adding Treyaun Webb to that makes this offense way more lethal and makes Florida's running back room that much stronger. But you don't got to hear it from me. You can hear it from John Garcia, Sports Illustrated's Director of Football Recruiting and Locked On's Recruiting Insider. Here's what he had to say when I spoke to him about Treyaun Webb.
Treyaun Webb from Trinity Christian there in Jacksonville is one of the premier backs in the state of Florida for this class of 2023, and he really has been for quite some time. This was a kid as a freshman. We started to hear about his athleticism and his ability to be productive in a very notable high school offense there with the Trinity Christian program coming off of another state championship. It seems like we say that every single year, and he's a bit of a throwback. He's played some defense, and he's an aggressive player on defense, so he kind of reflects that a little bit on offense. He's very much a one-cut downhill runner who's got good size, right around 200 pounds at this point. Not incredibly comfortable in space relative to some other running backs in the class of 2023, but he's got the foundation to be able to do that, and he's got a ton of experience behind him as well. Good vision, strong laterally, a balanced prospect who's getting bigger and stronger as time has worn on here. And look, this is a kid that's gone through it with the recruiting process. Early commitment to Georgia, backs off of that, commits to Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley thinks he's done. And then all of a sudden, Lincoln takes the USC job, and Treyon's back to square one. So he's a kid that has had to mature a little bit quicker in terms of his decision-making process, but the Gators are right in the thick of it for one of the premier backs in the state. Steady, productive, probably, if we're likening him to former Gator backs, probably closer to the Dameon Pierce mold than LaMichael Pirine, who's a little bit more comfortable coming out of the backfield, not as small and slender as some of the other backs like a Malik Davis for the Gators. So a big physical tone-setting type of running back that has a no-nonsense, balanced, and one-cut style is something that absolutely works and is necessary in the SEC. So that's why the Gators are coveting him, and that's why he's high on the Gators as well.
NBA playoffs are here. Baseball season is here. March Madness is over, which kind of sucks. That's really fun for us that like betting. But you can still make yourself some money because betonline.net is your number one source for all of your betting needs and sports information. I've been using BetOnline for years now, like 5+ years now, and I could not be happier with it. It's got so much, not just baseball, not just basketball, not just football, not just soccer or footy, whatever. I don't care what you want to call it. Not even just sports. You can bet on reality TV, award shows. You could bet on politics. You could bet on financials. You could bet on aliens invading, anything you want. There's just so much there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn about all the trends and action. Check out BetOnline. It's where the game starts. To wrap up today's show, we're going to talk about Florida football's Spring Ball Awards because they just announced them yesterday. And, well, there's a lot. We can say that. So there's a ton of awards. I singled out 3. There were a lot that were notable, but I singled out 3 because I wanted to talk about them a little more in depth, at least, to, kind of actually be able to give some insight on these things instead of just being like, this is the list, this is the reporting. So we're talking about these 3. It's not necessarily the 3 biggest, but 3 that I wanted to talk about. The Lomas Brown Offensive Lineman Award went to Kingsley Eguakun, which is awesome because he's someone who, look, last year he had some very bad games. He had some great games for the most part, but he had some very bad games. Like we look at the Kentucky game, was awful. It was just absolutely terrible. He couldn't hear, and that's obviously an issue. And Dan Mullen should have made an adjustment sooner. But at the same time, he also didn't have a great game blocking that one either. So it was a rough game, but he has improved significantly from what I've heard. I am very much looking forward to him being our center this season. I think that he's going to be one of the better centers in college football this year. And it's also so great for him because Florida right now has something where they have a good center and they have an elite defensive tackle. So you've got guys who can actually go to war with each other in practice every day, and actually iron sharpens iron there because you got Javon Dexter and Kingsley Eguakun are going at it. Javon Dexter, by the way, was the defensive lineman. He got the defensive lineman award. I believe it was Jack Youngblood defensive lineman award. I wasn't going to talk about that, but Kingsley Eguakun gets to go against Javon Dexter every single day in practice, and that's exciting because, again, Kingsley Eguakun, he is very good. He's going to continue getting better, and I love that now he has NFL coaching to help him develop instead of John Hevesy. Yikes. Next up is the Wilbur Marshall Linebacker Award. That's going to Ventrell Miller. I know that I already spoke about him a little bit because, of course, he had his tweet where he said portal Sadas, and everybody was like, just Chicken Little, just sky's falling, just going nuts. No, he's not going anywhere. Like I said, Ventrell Miller will be a Florida Gator. And the Linebacker Award is cool because we have a very talented linebacker room right now. I think, at least. I think there's a lot of talent. Like I've said, we don't have an elite linebacker right now. I think that's fair to say. Ventrell Miller, likely our best linebacker, but even then, he's got a very large flaw in that coverage has been a weakness for him. And I think that will be improved this year. I mean, it's hard not to be, but I think that'll be improved this year. But it is promising that he won the linebacker award because DeJuan Black has been lighting up the entire spring session. DeJuan Black has been going off. Amari Burney has been getting consistent praise. Derek Wingo got one of the most improved awards. So there's a lot of guys that stepped up in that linebacker room, and Ventrell Miller to continue that stranglehold he's got of linebacker 1 in Gainesville is impressive, and that's awesome for him because, again, we're going to have a lot of linebacker competition, a lot of linebacker rotation, but it is great to see that Ventrell Miller, who was linebacker 1, gets to continue being linebacker 1, and guess what? He's going to stay in Gainesville. There's no reason that a starting linebacker who is so clearly the best linebacker on the field right now is going to transfer. So just stop being silly, and especially someone who's openly loved Gainesville as much as Ventrell Miller has. So stop it. You look foolish. Stop it. Get some help. How about that one? And the last player we're talking about here is the Fred Taylor Most Improved Freshman Award, and that is offensive tackle Austin Barber. And that's one that I wanted to talk about because Austin Barber is much improved. We knew this before spring ball ended. We knew this before the awards came out because if you've been listening to Locked On Gators for at least a month, I want to say it's been, you will know that when I had Princely Umanmielen on the show, I asked him, I said, you get to go against all these offensive linemen just daily in spring practice. Who do you think is the most improved offensive lineman that you've gone against from last season? And what did Princely Umanmielen say? He said, that freshman, Austin Barber, he's gotten so much better. And once he gets the playbook down more, he's going to be something special. So that's something that we get to be excited about because Austin Barber, like I said, just a freshman right now, redshirt freshman, but just a freshman right now. And he gets to continue developing, continue learning under, like I just mentioned with Kingsley Eguakun, NFL coaching. Rob Sale, offensive line coach for the New York Giants last season. Don't care what you think about their offensive line. It got a lot better than it was the years before then. So he did something right. So he gets to be with Rob Sale. He gets to be with Billy Napier, who's also a very good offensive line coach. Donna Stapleton is also a good offensive line coach. Or Billy Napier is a very good offensive-minded coach. So we get to look at that, and Austin Barber's probably going to be left tackle next season. So that's going to be something to, at the very least, keep an eye on because it's going to be very exciting, and I can't wait for it. But the future's bright in Gainesville. You know, I said it pretty much every week. I feel like I say it at this point for football and basketball and women's basketball. The future is very bright for Gainesville, and I cannot wait. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow with more on your Florida Gators. Now make your second listen Locked On NFL Draft. Ryan Tracy and former NFL cornerback Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every day with insight and analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all of my written work with Whole Nine Sports. That is WHOLENINE Sports. And I will see you all tomorrow.